My name is Aaron, and I grew up in the world of metal. In fact, it's the only thing I ever really cared about in terms of music. But you know what, recently, I've wanted something a little bit different. Well, welcome back everybody. I hope you're excited for today, because today we start with... Actually, we're not starting. This is actually another video. We are doing BTS ARE Rockstars. This has come very heavily recommended, so I figured it'd be fun to check it out. So let's see.
A rock fan or metalhead, I know how this community can be, so just don't be pretentious. Be open-minded.
Some of them are pretentious, that is the truth, but not all of us.
And nice. If you're an ARMY but don't like hard rock or any kind of metal music with screams and loud instruments, I know you're going to be respectful. Just remember that these genres are not always pretty, and the music videos and live performances I will show can be a little disturbing. Also, please don't take my comparisons too seriously. This video is based mainly on my opinion.
The fact she has to actually make that kind of makes me sad.
I love rock music. Actually, my favorite music genres are rock, metal, and their subgenres. But my favorite artist is actually BTS. This may be surprising because BTS music catalog includes a lot of music genres, but they don't do a lot of hard rock. They do have songs with rock elements.
Your best level, the stage level. Take all my need, baby. 너를 찾아낸 둘이니까. 나의 so bad, 너 위해 이번까지 슬비 전에. Oh shit. I don't know, man.
Is it kind of weird that I want J-Hope to cover like something from Linkin Park?
I believe I loved you once. Fool me once, not fool me twice. Burn it till it's all gone. Yeah, burn it. 스마트한 세상보다 스마트하게 되면 너의 믿음을 왜 나는 인생이 시간이야.
But these songs were not the ones that made me an ARMY. Actually, the song that first got my attention was the disco funk bubblegum pop anthem Boy With Love. To be more specific, I got interested in BTS after watching the live performance of Boy With Love at M Countdown. At first, I didn't really understand why this specific performance got my attention. I didn't understand why BTS got my attention. What I'm about to say are just dumb stereotypes. But how can a performance of 7 men dressed in pink doing a choreography to a very poppy pop song be cool to a rock audience? Why did this make me a fan? It made no sense. But after years of learning more and more about the group and interacting with the fandom, I realized that it makes a lot of sense and that I'm not the only one. There There are many ARMYs who consider rock music their favorite genre, but they are still fans of BTS. This is just my opinion, but I think this is because BTS gives so many rockstar vibes without.
You know, it's actually interesting that she brings that up because that is something that I brought up a little while ago. I don't know if you remember. It was when I was listening to D-Light. We were listening to one of their songs. And I said, specifically, one of the things that is missing from rock and metal on the Western side is the fact that we are missing, like, rock star attitudes. Rock star icons. You know, back in the 70s and 80s, they had them everywhere. Iron Maiden, Ozzy Osbourne, Metallica, Slayer, Megadeth, like, larger than life, Slash, Axl Rose. You can keep going on. Do it now. Guy from Ghost? Maybe. It's absolutely true. It's something that I think is why a lot of times this kind of happens, is because at some point we're going to be looking for that kind of attitude to, you know, fill in what we're missing.
Having the conventional rockstar music. Despite seeing rock fans and metalheads reject them at first, just like I did, I now notice that BTS keep attracting this community. Here's why I think this happens. I love watching rock concerts and performances because they are insane. No matter what they're singing, you can expect a lot of energy, live vocals, and a real passion for performing. To be more specific, I see that both BTS and my favorite rock bands get into character. They feel the music so much that they forget about everything else. They are determined to put on a show. They perform like it's their last. Also, whether they like to admit it or not, there is a lot of thought in those.
Yeah, 100%. That is 100% a thing. That's why, to me, like, music is so important, is because as much as, like, sometimes we can kind of take escapism to the extreme, at the same time, like, it's actually pretty important for a lot of people, including myself. You know, once in a while I can just kind of put on something where you can listen to people that kind of reflect your feelings or what you're, you know, what you believe. So I think that's why it's always just so important to have these kinds of groups.
Concert outfits. If it's not masks, it's extravagant outfits or crazy makeup or unique hair colors or something different. The same way there's thought to BTS's outfits and stages. There is a theme and a different aesthetic every time. In pop music, this is hard to find with male singers. Female singers and rappers are usually the ones who care about looking good on stage, as well as rehearsing to give a performance worth watching, because people are paying to see them. But I don't always see the same energy from male singers. Male pop singers usually go on stage with an outfit you can wear to the supermarket and occasionally bring out a guitar. I'm not saying that this is bad, but it's not exactly what rock fans and ARMYs are looking for. Powerful energy, practice, and some thought to the presentation of the performance matter to most successful rock bands and BTS. And the size or importance of the stage doesn't matter. Whether they are at a small venue or a huge concert, they give their everything. I see a lot of people saying that they don't understand how BTS can dance those difficult choreographies in sync while singing live and changing formations all the time, to the extent that they make it seem easy.
How many times have I said that by now? Yeah.
Like they were born with all this talent, when in reality there were hundreds of hours of practice. The same way a rock band can have the illusion that they are careless, they are punk, they don't need practice, they don't care about anything.
Hamburg, Hamburg, over the fuck, I can park.
Fucking everywhere, I don't fucking know.
But to make all of the instruments and live vocals sound good, as well as having a good presence on stage that feels like one cohesive group, they had to have a lot of practice. Both BTS and rock bands care about being impactful and giving an impression. And to do this in the most honest way, they do it through live performances, because anyone can fool the audience with an amazing music video. But to prove that they are good performers, they put a lot of thought and hours of practice to their live performances. I don't know if this happens with other people, but I genuinely think that some live versions of BTS songs and my favorite rock and metal songs are better live than in the studio, because it may sound less perfect, but it can feel more real and interesting.
Baby, come on, take it, yeah. Come on, show me what you got. You sexy girl. 나한테 그게 중요해. 이상형 충전. 우리 결혼해. Baby, come on, take it, yeah. Come on, show me what you got. You sexy girl. 나한테 그게 중요해. 내 이상형 충전. 우리 결혼해. Get ready, get ready, get ready, get ready, get ready. 앞으로 더. Go get it, go get it, go get it, go get it, go get it. 달리자 world. Get ready, get ready, get ready, get ready, get ready. 앞으로 더. Go get it, go get it, go get it, go get it, go get it. 달리자 world.
My point is that both BTS and rock bands have extreme, complicated, well-rehearsed, passionate, impactful performances. Being boring is not an option, and you can see it on the audience's response.
That was like a show that I've never seen in my life. I've been to so many concerts, I have seen festivals, I have seen like massive productions, but that dwarfs every other show I've ever seen in my life. I don't even know how to compare that to anything I've ever seen.
후회도 원인지 아니면 외로움이나 나일지 여전히 모르겠어 서스퍼는
I know that some people may say, well, extreme, well-rehearsed performances are common in all of K-pop, and that is true. I'm going to ignore those groups we all know are very lazy and don't like to perform. I'm going to ignore that lip-syncing or singing with loud, pre-recorded vocals are extremely common in K-pop. With all of that out of the way, it's known that K-pop groups in general practice a lot for their performances. But the reason why I care about BTS specifically is because there is a very heavy personal identity the members have with their music. To be more specific, they identify themselves with their lyrics. This may sound like an obvious thing, but let me explain why I found this surprising.
Before we continue on for just a split second, I think also with the whole thing with lip syncing, there's a lot of groups where I can just kind of always assume that they're never going to lip sync, and BTS is one of those. And I think one of the things that I really like about it is that yes, the lyrics matter, but and I talk about this a lot. I've said this, I don't even know how many countless times in the last week or two. The color of the voices is there, and I don't feel like that if they're just doing pre-recorded stuff, you wouldn't get that same level of connection.
There is this popular topic in K-pop regarding noise music. This is usually music that is out of the ordinary and that sounds very extreme. It's usually EDM and dubstep, but it's considered experimental. The first description may attract listeners like me because I love listening to people scream with a bunch of instruments being loudly played in the background. But K-pop's noise music is seen in a negative light because it's loud and too much without any reason to be. On the other hand, I feel like rock and metal are emotions coming to life. The songs are intense because feelings are intense. These extreme songs have a purpose and a meaning, and you can more easily recognize what the song wants to say by reading the lyrics. And yes, I'm saying reading the lyrics because even though most rock fans listen to rock music in their language, sometimes these intense genres have unintelligible lyrics.
Okay, I'm glad she brought this up because this is actually one thing that I think is really funny. There are groups that are completely unintelligible, sure. There is, one in every 10 you probably wouldn't be able to understand. But let me just say, and if you want to look it up, but I'm not going to say nothing. There is a subgenre of metal where they purposely try to sound basically like pigs the whole time. It's hilarious. They're just and then they just write the most atrocious lyrics that you can possibly ever think of. Not my cup of tea at all. It's not for me.
Sometimes these intense genres have unintelligible lyrics.
That's very intelligible compared to a lot of the groups that are out there.
English is not my first language, so I was always open to foreign music. This is why I consider reading lyrics part of the listening experience. Sometimes you may even understand what the singers are saying, but reading the lyrics of a song makes you concentrate exactly on the message and your interpretation of it. I'm not saying that it's always like this, but the rock songs I happen to listen to have amazing lyrics most of the time, and the live performances are those lyrics coming to life. The same way BTS's music has 7 unique songwriting styles that work cohesively and that feel authentic and natural on stage. Different artists can practice their performances, but they won't truly connect with the audience if lyrics don't matter. You can do the most complicated choreography the world has ever seen, but if the song and lyrics are not there, music fans that care for some kind of connection and real emotion won't be satisfied by your magic tricks on stage. BTS cares about their lyrics and correctly interpreting those lyrics on stage. We know that RM is the literal definition of a poet. Suga has been writing for himself and others way before being in BTS. J-Hope quickly became one of the most respected songwriters in South Korea, and the vocal line, Jin, Jimin, V, and Jungkook learn how to write music fast because they care about bringing a meaningful message to the group and correctly interpreting this message in their live performances. For all of them, lyrics matter because lyrics are emotions and stories and messages.
Personally, huge connection with the theme and the lyrics that they're talking about. It made me think of the first song that we wrote together.
BTS is kind of like in a area of genre where I wouldn't really mess around in, but something about the way that they write and the way that they make their lyrics flow and everything like that just keeps me really hooked in, which doesn't happen a lot with like a hip hop or like poppy side, you know?
Yeah.
Really intrigues me. They're great.
This is actually exactly what I say a lot of times too. Like, I would much rather listen to like K-pop than actual Western pop, like 99.99% of the time.
Great songwriters, and the fact that they're making me just want to slam this song out 50,000 times in a row is impressive.
The vocal line for me, I was like, you know, it seems like it's going to be more poppy, and I'm not really into pop music very much. So that was the thing that I was nervous about. But then whenever I heard Epiphany, I was like, damn, pop music can actually carry a very deep message and something that I needed to hear at the time. And so like that was a changing moment for me being a fan of theirs.
The BTS members write about themselves and their perceptions of the world. This is why their albums always reflected the stage of life they were going through. During their school years, they wrote about school. When they entered adulthood, they wrote about youth. If they live something, they write about it. Their songs usually have an easy and relatable message that doesn't require much thought, as well as a deeper, complicated meaning that requires some analysis. This is why so many armies, including rock fans, take the extra step of reading lyrics by a translator who gives context. Because I'm not joking when I say that this can be multi-layered poems with tons.
I always have dual set up in every single video. You will see, you might not see it because of but dual set is always, I actually have a shortcut to it now. So
of wordplay that need interpretation and references about books, movies, traditions, movements, and different events that happen in South Korea and the world. This is how their music became some kind of social commentary. Just like with rock music, BTS has the occasional love song here and there, but most of their music has some kind of social commentary. Whatever the social or political message is, this is extremely common in rock and metal music.
Now, I'd almost never do this, but I'm going to right now. If you want to hear a song that has crazy, crazy meaning, and it has a little bit of the screamy in it, there is a song by a group called Avatar that's called Bloody Angel, and it's basically it's actually kind of like really, really sad, but not in the way that you would expect. Basically, it's someone who orders the assassin or the extermination of people that are like in internment camps. It's the video, basically it's a song about him realizing all the evil he has done. It's really cool.
We are the fortunate ones who've never faced oppression's gun. You see a politician and you start to pull your hair.
Okay, really interesting the Pretty Reckless, if you don't know, the Pretty Reckless is actually, the lead singer is the little girl from The Grinch with Jim Carrey. If you didn't know that, yeah. Pretty Reckless is Cindy Lou Who.
You wanna tell them what you think they fucking care. The same way, BTS debuted with the mission of sharing social messages. And although some people say that BTS doesn't care about social commentary or impactful lyricism anymore, that is completely false and shows how a big part of the general public and K-pop fans don't read lyrics by themselves. They just repeat what others are saying. In every single album, from their first one to their most recent one, they have dealt with topics related to psychology, philosophy, politics, and society. BTS's Rebellious lyrics were one of the main reasons why a group from a very small label with zero industry support got the attention of many. This type of success story is also common in rock music, because the mainstream music industry doesn't pay as much attention to rock bands as they do with pop solo acts. So BTS's first trilogy of albums, known as the School Trilogy, attracted a lot of rebellious students and young people, since the songs were about many topics related to school life, as well as criticism on the education system and expectations society enforces on adolescents.
Okay, I have to talk about that lyric really quick, sorry. If you know me personally in real life, I always say that everybody should always go for their dream. I actually have many times in my own personal life stated that I think it's interesting, and this is just my own personal opinion, how sometimes that people just are okay to settle working a 9 to 5 when in reality we all have this tremendous ability and talent, and there's things that catch our interest, and I wish that all of us could pursue that and make money that way.
As the years pass, BTS started incorporating psychological concepts to their songs, attracting listeners who look for music that talk about mental health problems. And again, this is also very common in rock music. The same way BTS has written about depression, anxiety, grief, loneliness, pain, and insecurities. While continuing the conversation of mental health issues, BTS amplified their social commentary on the education system to larger systems like society, consumerism, toxic masculinity, social differences, and injustices.
This is the one that I actually have recorded that I still need to put out. Yeah.
And of course, songs like Change and Equal Sign may be obvious with their message, but even the most catchy songs with colorful and happy performances may have some kind of social message too. For example, the execution of Go Go is, in my opinion, one of the most rock and roll heavy metal songs I've ever heard. In the live performances, they laugh in your face. They basically do a choreography full of dance trends at the time while wearing expensive trendy outfits. The chorus is extremely catchy with a lot of popular phrases that young people like to repeat. But what they're singing is a protest on consumeristic materialism, and what they're doing is making fun of careless spending, especially when young people spend all their money on useless trends just to fit in.
It's funny that they say that because honestly, I don't think I've ever tried to fit in. I don't think I've ever. Maybe that's why sometimes I've been kind of like lonely in my life, but I just never really like to fall into any trends or crazes or anything like that. I just think that it's a little silly. That's why I wear the same thing over and over, just t-shirt and jeans.
Even Boy With Love, that song that got me into BTS, was commentary on themselves from the past. Boy With Love is some kind of growth from their previous single, Boy In Love. The extreme pink and bubblegum pop work as a response to toxic masculinity and gender roles. They sing that someone's true strength doesn't come from big luxury. It comes from finding joy in the smallest things in life. At the same time, this feminine and even glamorous aesthetic complements the psychological idea of a persona, which they explore on their album chapters Map of the Soul based on Jungian psychology. Just like this, BTS implements psychological concepts, classical fiction, and social movements in every single album. Finally, I think of BTS
That still just blows my mind.
as rock stars because they created a fandom with a strong sense of community. While the rock and metal scenes have served as the vehicle for multiple subcultures, such as the goth, punk, and emo subcultures, BTS has created a significant shift in fandom culture. Just like with rock and metal genres, BTS's socially conscious music has inspired their fandom army to work more as a movement than a fandom. Of course, the sense of being part of something bigger, along with other people who enjoy the same thing as you, creates a strong community. But ARMY also bond over their mission of breaking the fangirl stereotype by paying attention to social issues and taking action. I already made a video explaining how ARMY's unique story has changed fandom culture, but in general, it has to do with the way ARMY normalized within the fandom privacy, respect, security, and generosity. If you are skeptical of what I'm saying, please watch the video. The BTS ARMY is some kind of movement in pop culture. If there's a social issue, ARMY organizes themselves to follow BTS's steps. If it becomes public that BTS donated to a certain organization, ARMY matches their donation. If BTS cancels their tour because of the COVID pandemic, ARMY donates their ticket refunds to pandemic relief organizations. If BTS tickets get sold out faster than ever, ARMY donates their ticket money to organizations helping the victims of a current disaster. Charity and different initiatives happen all the time in the ARMY community.
Sound, please.
I'm not saying that extreme performances, lyrics that matter, or social commentary are exclusive to rock music and BTS. Of course, some of these factors are also common in other genres. But my point in making this video is that I, as a rock fan, got interested in BTS and became a fan, something I never thought would happen. The same way, fans of many other genres got interested in BTS and became fans because the BTS members are extremely versatile artists. So while I see them as rock stars, fans of other genres may associate BTS with characteristic traits of their favorite music genre. Their rock characteristics are my favorite and what I appreciate the most in them. But a hip-hop fan may think that their deep appreciation and ability at rap is what makes them special. A fan of pop music may think that their ability to make their songs sound fresh and modern is what makes them special. A fan of dance may think that it's their polished choreography.
Okay, that is actually something else that I would like to say. I think that most of the time when it comes to music, it's always best to like stick to what you know and be good at that, because a lot of times when you try and like do the opposite, it doesn't work. For example, if someone who's like heavy into being a metal artist decides that they're going to go into being like pop or, like rap. Like, it's like, dude, you don't got it, I think that that's one thing that is really special about BTS is the fact that they can do so many genres, and it's not just like, dude, this ain't your bag. Like, you got to stop. I don't feel like that ever.
May think that it's their polished choreographies what really makes them special, and an R&B or jazz fan may think that their musical complexity and ability to interpret emotions on stage is what really makes them. Whatever it is, Suga was right when he said that you like BTS music if you listen without prejudice.
I think that's actually true. What about like if you go in with an open mind, for example. I think had I started with BTS, I don't know if I would actually regard them in the way that I do. Shocking, I know, kind of seems weird to say. Like, I think that it kind of took a few things to get used to in order for me to actually be able to fully and upfrontly enjoy the music. I will say, again, that probably one of the most important groups for me to actually get into this, to be able to actually say, I see this on the same level as the music I listen to. I actually do have to say that I give a lot of it to Dreamcatcher, because I saw just about everything within K-pop, for the most part, as the cutesy boy band stuff. I did. I'm going to be honest. And I think that when I heard that there was such different music, I was like, okay, like, this is pretty cool. I was listening to a couple other bands. I shall have them remain nameless. And they kind of conditioned me to kind of be like used to listening to that kind of music. And then after that, I just remember, in fact, I'll even put a link to it if you want to watch the exact moment that I just decided, okay, this is just all good music, is when I was listening to Dreamcatcher. And I think that it was necessary for me to get to that point, to be able to see this and be like, okay, I get it. This is genuine. This is emotional. This is like as good as people say. And, I think on top of that, I think then it's just, I want to say that BTS kind of exacerbated that feeling of just, I just really think that listening to them be like hip hop and aggressive and also like share this kind of like rock kind of form, and then just kind of like, oh, okay, so they mean business. And then I think for me, the moment that kind of really just kind of like clicked was, obviously it's one of my favorite songs on here. I listen to it daily now, which is Louder Than Bombs. After I heard that, I was like, oh my. I think there just always was something for me to have to be able to like get past, and I think that BTS is probably the one to kind of like finally wipe away that last feeling of it. And not that I never disliked or like had a hard time listening to the music, but it definitely just kind of eliminated those last parts of prejudice of like, oh, this isn't metal, this isn't good as that I listen to. So I think that this is just what's important. In fact, like I said, this is actually something I really haven't told many people, but this was actually such a huge moment that I have actually purchased my first piece of merch. And it will be, you'll see it. And it will go along with the tribute that I have coming for the BTS and ARMY as well, because of how awesome all of you have been. And if that doesn't tell you, I don't know what else I can honestly do at this point. So in any case, aside from just like putting out genuine music, being genuine good people, putting out awesome lyrics, putting out stuff that makes me think, it's just, I agree with what she says, and I think this is just an awesome video. Let me know what y'all think, and I want to continue the discussion as best as I can down in the comments below. So thanks again, and please have a good day. Don't look up the pig vocals. Please don't.